Dear students, today we have to make a study on the concept of nation state and nationalism. First we have to differentiate what is a nation and what is a nation state, and how far the nationalism that is contributing to the formation of nation states. Nation, that is an idea formed on the basis of ethnic identity, as we see during the time of First World War, the Pan-Slavism and other movements, and nation state that have a clear-cut political boundaries, clear-cut administrative system, a bureaucratic system, everything that is the part of the nation states. So in this way we have to differentiate nation and nation states. Nation that is formed on the basis of an ethnic identity. So the Pan-Slavism that have its impact on the entire part of Europe, and this Pan-Slav movement that is not on the basis of a country or a geographical boundary. So nationalism, that is a political principle, and this political principle that is connected with the national unit. So the national unit and political principle are congruent. That means that are related to each other. And what actually means a nationalist sentiment? What we define a nationalist sentiment? That is a feeling of anger aroused by the violation of the principle. So when the principle that is violated, that created anger and nationalist sentiments, and when there is satisfaction with the principle, the anger will be fulfilled. So the national movement, that is a kind of anger. National movement, that is a kind of anger that naturally created the national sentiment. So national sentiment is the feeling of anger aroused by the violation of the principle. Wherever a principle is violated, that creates anger, and that creates national movement and national sentiment. So in this way, nationalist movements that can be defined, and basically nationalism is a theory of political legitimacy which requires that ethnic boundaries should not cut across the political ones. So the ethnic boundaries are within the limit of the political boundary. The case of nationalism. Ethnical boundaries, that is under the purview, or that is under the limitation of the political ones in the case of nationalism. And the state, in the case of nationalism, state is a very important body, state is a very important ingredient, and there is no state, there is no nationalism. There is no state, there is no nationalism. So that is, state is a very important part of nationalism. The state constitutes one highly distinctive and important elaboration of the social division of labor. So state actually, that is the elaboration of the division of labor. So division of labor that is connected with the capitalism, and the elaboration of the division of labor that constituted the state in the modern sense of the term. And state is a modern institution. State is a modern institution that is concerned with the enforcement of order. So ordering of the things, as Michel Foucault saying, every society there is an ordering of the things. For example, in a society there are divergent elements, religion, then again education system, ethnicity, that are divergent things, but these things are ordering in a particular way. There is an ordering in the feudal society. So though the feudal society that have divergent elements, religion, then again agrarian system, everything, but we are calling it as a feudalism. That is an order. So every society have a mechanism to ordering of the things, and state is one of the important instrument for ordering of the things. And the states ordering of the things that are through the specialized agencies. The ordering of the things are through the specialized agencies such as police forces, then again courts, and other parents. So all these elements, the enforcement system, everything that we call as the state. And we can argue that if there is no division of labor, there is no state. If there is no division of labor, there is no state. But it is very difficult to argue that all the societies are state endowed. All the societies are not state endowed, and the problem of nationalism that does not arise for the stateless societies. We already point out that in a stateless society it is very difficult to form the feeling of nationalism. And while discussing about the human history, mankind has passed through three fundamental changes. There are different mode of production, and mankind in its development, we can see the three fundamental stages: the pre-agrarian society, the agrarian society, and the modern industrial society. The pre-agrarian society, the agrarian society, and the industrial society. The pre-agrarian society that was occupied by hunters and gatherers, hunting and gathering, that became the chief mode of production. And that is a group or a society formed by close blood relationship or kinship relationship that is prevailed there. And the division of labor that was not developed there. The political division of labor that was not developed there, because their bondage or their connection that was based on blood relationship, and that is why as far as the hunter and gatherer societies was concerned, the question of state and stabilized specialized order that does not really arise. State is not a question as far as them ordering of the things, that is not a question arise them. So their bondage that is based on kinship and blood relationship. But while coming down to the agrarian societies that is far developed than that of the hunters and gatherers, because agriculture that demands permanent settlements, that demands a system for irrigation, an institution or a system for irrigation that is very essential for the agrarian societies. Agricultural equipments are very essential. So in this way, the agricultural societies are more improved than that of the pre-agrarian societies, and these agrarian societies have been state endowed. So because a state is very essential for the functioning of the agrarian societies, as we already noted, for providing irrigation facilities, for supplying the materials, for permanent settlements, a state mechanism was very essential, and some of the states have been strong and some were very weak. Some were despotic and some were law abiding. And so these agrarian societies that is not uniform in nature, but all the agrarian societies have been state endowed. And the agrarian phase of human history is the period during which very existence of state is an option. And Hegel, who make an argument, once none had states. That we means in the pre-agrarian societies, none had states. Then some had states. And finally, in the present period, all have the states. That is an argument raised by Hegel. And the industrial societies are very large, and dynamic. The industrial societies are very large and dynamic, and that is controlled by a well developed system and depend upon the general division of labor and cooperation. Division of labor, mutual cooperation, functioning of different systems, then again the enlargement of the money economy, all that is part of the industrial society. And this industrial society that demands a well performed function. And some of this cooperation under the favorable conditions be spontaneous and need no central sanctions. So we already commented that there is a mutual cooperation. There is a mutual cooperation among the industrial societies, and this cooperation that developed voluntarily, and at the same time spontaneous cooperation that developed. And as we already point out that the modern form of state system that is very closely associated with the emergence of the industrial societies. And we can again argue that nationalism was an inclusive and liberating force to break down the various localisms of the region. The idea of localism that was fade away with the form of nationalism, and regional language, regional dialect, custom, clan, all that gave way to the sophisticated forms of social setup in connection with the nationalism. And centralized market system, system of administration, taxation, education, that is universal one, and at the same time that is centralized one. In the present modern states, administration, taxation, education, all things are centralized one, and its appeal was popular and democratic. So the modern form of nationalism and nation state that attacked the feudal practices and oppressive imperial tyrannies, and proclaimed the sovereignty of the people and the right of all the peoples to determine their destinies. So the feudalist mode of production that was questioned. The despotic form of government system was questioned in connection with the emergence of nationalism. And throughout the 19th century and to the 20th centuries, nationalism was found wherever native elites fought to overthrow the foreign imperial and colonial administrations. So while studying the history of the 19th century, that is a period of colonialism, and that is a period of the popular movements all part of the world. And in these colonial countries, the defense and attack on colonialism that was led by the native elite group. So we can see that Bourdieu's concept of fields or cultural capitalism make an argument that there is a dominant group in every society, and their ideas are influenced by others. So the resistance to the colonialism or leadership of the nationalism that was in the hands of the native elites, and these native elites fought to overthrow the foreign imperial and colonial administrations. And the large-scale mass democratic nationalisms of the earlier 19th century were later joined by a small-scale mini-nationalisms. So you can see there are mass-based large-scale democratic nationalism on one side, and there are mini-nationalism led by the intellectuals. So some of the intellectuals highly contributed to the nationalist cause, and that was very success. For example, the success of the intellectuals was very visible after the Treaty of Versailles. After the Treaty of Versailles, there was the flocking of the individuals and intellectuals in the stream of nationalism, and that transformed the entire map of Europe. And we can identify three main issues dominated the theory of nations and nationalism. There are three main issues that have dominated the theory of nations and nationalism. First theory, that is concerned with ethical and philosophical. Ethical and philosophical. How far the ethical and philosophical ideas contributing to the formation of nations and gave rise to nationalism. This concerned with the role of nation in human affairs. Role of nation in human affairs. What role played by the nation in human affairs? And second issue concerned with the theory of nation and nationalism is that anthropological and political. Anthropological and political. It concerns the social definition of nation. How to define a nation on the basis of social interaction. So, what kind of community is a nation? And what is the relationship of the individual to that community? So that is the second question we have. And third one is historical and sociological. Historical and sociological. It concerns the place of nation, the history of humanity. How far the nation influenced the course of humanity, and should we regard the nation as an immemorial and evolving community rooted in a long history of shared ties and culture. And the earliest scholars of nationalism discuss the evolutionary development of nations. So, nation developed stage by stage. So, you already studied about the pre-agrarian society, agrarian society and industrial society. And the nations emerged with the stages of development of humanities with a degree of voluntarism, political activism, and emphasis on long-term ethno-cultural roots of nations. Michelet viewed the nation as the best defense for the individual liberty in the era of fraternity. He argued that he viewed nation as a tool as the best defense for the individual liberty in the era of fraternity. And according to Rousseau, the French Revolution had ushered in a religion of patriotism. In countries like Italy, Poland and Ireland, nationalism belonged to the Mazzini's Young Europe movement. So French Revolution is contributing to the idea of patriotism, and the countries like Italy, Poland and Ireland, nationalism belonged to Joseph Mazzini's Young Europe movement. According to Lord Acton, the central question of nationality and nation, that is ethical. So, ethical elements that have an important role in the formation of nation and nation states. And Ernest Renan combines a sense of ethno-cultural formation in Europe over long time or a long duration with a belief in the active political commitment of members of the nation. According to Renan, the rise of classical modernism or classical nationalism is connected with the mingling or the fusion of the races into nations. So, Renan argued that the nation, that is a fusion of races or an ethnic bondage, the creation of nations and retention of the ethnic distinctiveness in Europe. For Marx, Engels, Lenin and other followers, nations and nationalism were intrinsic to the development of modern capitalist era. So their argument is that nationalism, that is a product of capitalism, The emergence of nationalism that is connected with capitalism. Capitalism that is depending upon the division of labor. Division of labor that gave rise to the formation of the states. So, the European capitalism that needed large territorial markets, trading blocks, and of the growing distance between the modern capitalist state and bourgeois civil society gave rise to the idea of nationalism. So, capitalism that demands the enhancement of economy, that demands a new market, that demands the colonies, everything, and that is why the modern capitalist state and bourgeois civil society, modern capitalist state and bourgeois civil society played a very important role in the creation of nationalism. Weber, who gives importance to the part of analysis, emphasis on the role of political action. Role of not ethnical, but Weber mainly concentrated on the political action in the formation of ethnic groups and evolution of the modern European nations. How far the politics played or political action played a very important role in the formation of the nation state. That is the study made by Weber. Weber speaks of the issues of the ethnic identity and nationalism, and Weber emphasized the importance of political action and political memories. A nation is a community of sentiments. Weber argued that a nation is a community of sentiments, and hence nation is a community. Nation is a community which normally tends to produce the state of its own. For Weber, the modern state is a rational type of association, the apogee of the Occidental rationalism, and one of the main agencies of rationalization in history. Nation is a particular type of community and prestige group. So these are some of the preliminary ideas that we have about nation, nation state and nationality, and the coming classes we have to make an elaborate or essential discussion on this idea.